In this VRChat world tutorial, we're building a synced slideshow and image viewer, perfect for photo galleries, world intros, or any space that needs smooth visual transitions. This asset supports panning animations, crossfades, and automatic image cycling, all network synced and Quest compatible. Most VRChat worlds just show static images. No movement, no syncing, no polish. But with this system, you're bringing in features usually reserved for the highest end worlds. It's an easy drop-in upgrade that instantly makes your world feel more dynamic, immersive, and professional. And the best part? It's fully customizable. You define the images, as many or as few as you want, by simply adding them to a list. Want it to slide from left to right, up to down, fade between images, or even just hold one solid image. That's all controlled by simple inspector settings. No coding required. You can adjust the slide direction, transition time, delay between slides, giving you full control. Whether you're creating a chill hangout space or a polished event showcase, this system adapts to whatever you need. So overall, this has 4 variants, and then each of these has a local and networked version. This will all be available as one package on my Patreon. Now in this video, we're going to cover 2 of these 4. The 2 of them will be Patreon exclusives, at least for a little while. This is probably one of the more advanced prefabs I have made, so I want to offer the higher end versions for my Patreon members exclusively, at least for the time being. What we'll be looking at how to do today is make this UI image, and then this version of a UI image, which is a slideshow like we're talking about. It also has all the options we were talking about, including a list where you can add as many images as you would like and set the delay between the transitions. Let's take a look exactly at what we're going to be making today, and I'll point out which ones. So our first is this UI image. And our second, like I said, is the one that instantly transitions to a new image. Now our more complicated versions and advanced are the crossfade and the pan. And the pan can go left to right, right to left, top to down, and bottom up. These will be our exclusive ones we're not looking at today. So let's look at how we make these. We're opening up to our tutorial series world where nothing has been changed since our last video. Let's go ahead and get started. Let's put it to the left of our doors. So the first thing we're going to need is a canvas. So let's go ahead and create one of those. Now inside of our canvas, we are going to create, just for the time being, we're going to delete it here in a minute, but we're going to create a panel just so it makes it easier to see our canvas. Now on our canvas, we're going to change our render mode to world space and set our scale to 0.01 all the way across the board. Once we're done with that, we're going to reset the position. Okay, we're going to have to reset the scale first. Or reset the position, then reset the scale. So now we have our canvas. And this just makes it a little easier to get to where we wanted it and have it an appropriate size. Now we're just going to kind of make it whatever size you want your image to be. Okay, now we're going to delete our panel and we're going to add in a UI raw image. I guess we could have just used this instead of the panel, but it doesn't really matter, honestly. So our texture is going to be whatever image you would like. Let's just make a folder called images. We are going to drag our first image into here. Oops, I grabbed the wrong one. That one has alpha. Okay, so now in our raw image, we are going to assign our texture. Okay, as we can see, now we have our two-sided image. If this is all you were looking for is a really nice static image, you can stop here. It's that easy. However, as you saw before, we can tweak it slightly to make it only visible from one side, which I think in a lot of cases would be useful. Let's go ahead and take a look at how we do that. We're going to click on our raw image. And we're going to need to make a material for this. So let's just make a material in here. If I can find material, there it is. And we're going to call this demo material. Call it whatever you would like, it doesn't matter. All we need to do is change our shader, go to unlit, and color. I made a mistake there. We're not using unlit color, we're using unlit texture. My mistake. So now when we load back into our world, or just hit play, we can see it's only visible from one side. Again, if this is all you're looking for, we're now done. We have a UI image, both double-sided and single-sided, depending on what you're looking for. Now again, we can change the customization here by changing our material back or making a new material, and then messing with the smoothness, which is going to be how smooth it is or reflective, and also the metallic. So the more metallic and smooth, the shinier it's going to be. If you know anything about materials, you can do a lot of stuff with this, including making it transparent from here. So what we could do is make it transparent, and then we could adjust the alpha under the color, and then we can adjust the color too to apply a tint. So now we have a transparent blue image. Let's see how that looks. Pretty cool. And again, if this is all you're looking for, feel free to stop or pause here and recreate it. But now we're going to move on to a more advanced type of system. We're going to go ahead and duplicate this, and we're going to remove our material. You can do that by hitting the plus, going back to the top and hitting none. So now we have a canvas. We're going to go ahead and name this Slideshow, and we'll name our other one UI image. So under our slideshow, we need to create an empty game object. This is going to be holding our Udon behavior. Now we need to create a new C# program asset. Let's go ahead and create the script, and we'll call this one YouTube slideshow local. Give the script a minute to compile. And we're going to go ahead and open it up. Now here's the code. You zoom in so it's legible. And you can copy this, or again, it will be available with all 4 demos, including the total of 8 variations of those 4 demos, so 2 for each, on my Patreon if you don't want to go through all this hassle of doing it yourself. Now make sure we save this, don't type S like I just did. And you can see here we got a compilation error. We actually need to import an additional library right here, line 6. Now it compiled successfully. So we need to drag our raw image into our target image. Then you'll see we have a drop down called images. This is where you will add however many images you want. You need at least 2. So that's how we can do that. For our demo, we can just use some cards for this one, since I don't have all those other images in this project folder. So you can see here we just applied some cards from our card demo video. Now here we have our delay, so this is how fast it will change between these images. Let's go ahead and see how it works. We can see it works pretty good, but if you look really closely, it is still transparent. Now, if you had this against a wall, that would fix the problem. But there is another way. What we're going to do to fix this is just duplicate our material we made earlier and change it back to an unlit texture. What we're going to do is go back into our raw image and assign our newly made material. This will make it not transparent again. Now we need to do one final thing, as our animated slideshow is only local. We need to make a networked copy, of course, if that's what you're interested in. So let's go ahead and make a new Udon behavior. We're going to hit new program, create script. We're going to call it the same one, except for instead of local, it's going to be network. At this point, we can go ahead and remove our... Actually, we'll keep it for 1 minute. And I'll show you why. Let's go ahead and open our networked code. Alright, here is the code. Give you a chance to pause here and here. Make sure you are importing all the correct libraries. I believe you might be missing this one right here, line 4. So we're going to hit save and return to our project. Alright, it compiled without any errors, so we need to target the correct raw image once again, and then go through our list and add any images we might want to. Now a quick way to get back to them is just to click on our other one, and we can add these exactly like we had. And there we go. Now, we don't want to have both of these. In fact, that'll cause problems. So go ahead and remove the old one. Now we have the exact same thing, but it's networked. So that's all it takes to make these 2 examples, one local and networked, and then one static that doesn't change, so it doesn't need to be networked. But these are advanced ways to make images. Now I take this much further with my other 2 examples. They are far more complicated. But these are also very impressive and will definitely put your world a step above the average world by implementing them. Now I think it's important to note here that you need to watch the texture max size if you're worried about the size of your world or Quest compatibility. Images need to be, as far as I know, 1024 resolution or smaller to work on Quest. Just keep that in mind when you're deciding what images to use and what quality to select for them. And that's it. A fully synced, customizable image system for your VRChat world. Whether you're using it for slideshows, galleries, or interactive guides, this setup gives your world a more polished, professional feel. If this helped you out, consider liking and subscribing. It really helps the channel grow. And if you want to support more tools like this, check out my Patreon. Every little bit helps me keep making and sharing these assets and tutorials. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.